position. So and what can happen, guys, actually get too many reps, and you worry about wear and tear come the third and fourth at the end of spring ball, and then how that transfers into the summer. Because all you're doing through the winter, to me, through the winter and the spring and summer is, and Coach Mick used this analogy a week ago, you're not working hard, you're work hardening. You're hardening your body to be a solid practice player. So we got to be crafty, whether like, Mitch Rossi's playing tight end fullback for me. He's played some tailback. DeMario can play the slot and the tailback. Back in the day, Jalen Gill's done some of that. So the deal is you just don't need to over-rep Steele.
Yeah.
Marcus is coming off his injury. We've got Xavier Johnson's been back there playing. And so, we'll end up having, 3-4 by the time the signee comes back and the guys will healthy. We'll be back to a good complement of 4 or 5, really 6, 7 bodies. But right now, and you also want to make sure you're having quality reps. So we did a little bit of that today where, Mitch got us a little and DeMario, and that's really, we can expand. We've wanted to expand a package for DeMario that never has really taken off. We've wanted to. I've actually wanted to do that with Mitch.
Yeah.
Had a kid at Oklahoma, a couple of them. That were kind of fullbacks with DeMarco Murray, and all of a sudden we moved DeMarco out, and the fullback was the running back, and then the next play was 2-back. And so there's a role for Mitch maybe. So this gives Mitch an opportunity to play in the backfield a little bit, but he's still a tight end. It gives DeMario to play a little bit of receiver time. We'll just work through the reps. The real deal is we just don't need to load up Steel Chambers, and get him through the deal.
Kevin, I know you can't say much about Master Teague, but what can you tell us? Are you optimistic that it's not too serious?
I'm always optimistic.
So you think you will have him for the start of the season if you had to guess?
Yeah, I would think so. But time will tell. And I think the worst thing you can do, and I for years I've said, when someone says it's a 6-month injury, what happens if some guys just heal slower, and all of a sudden that kid or that family thinks he's behind? It's a 2-week ankle injury, and all of a sudden it takes 4. And then you start thinking, some guys just they heal faster, their bodies recover faster. Sometimes they get treatment better than others. Sometimes the injury's a little bit worse than you think. So to say there's a specific timeline, but I think the timeline of what it looks like that's one of the reasons why we do some of these practices before spring ball. You get a chance to get them back. The deal would be though, as he is missing some of this work, how will his body be as he comes back, not only be healthy, but then to be durable as you go through the day-to-day wear and tear playing college football at running back.
He's a veteran, but not like JK was a veteran. So
Correct.
Not having him for spring, just in terms of Masters development, what kind of a drawback is it for him becoming the kind of back he could have become, not to be out here in spring?
That's a hurdle, and there was a really good, I think, different, but Thayer Mumford had played a fair amount, played probably a little bit more than Master had. But Thayer last year, coming off a back injury, was really limited through spring with not only the practice but the workouts. And then in summer, and even though Thayer had a good year, it maybe wasn't as good as he really is because he couldn't train. So that's going to be the issue, is as Master gets healthy, how can he cheat the system of getting healthy and also getting better? I always use the analogy that when you're hurt, you want to get better. I didn't say get healthy. You want to get healthy, but you want to get better. So you want to become a better ball carrier without running the ball. You want to catch the ball better without running routes. So how do you cheat the system that you're growing mentally? You're growing with the skills that you can do. Maybe you're limited, but you can do a bunch of catching drills, whatever. So you got to cheat the system, because as a young player, he needs to get better, and that's everyone on the team, though. That's our goal right now.
Coach, do you have a timetable on him?
No one does. I think
Nobody does.
I think by the end of summer should be good.
Yeah.
So early, we'll see.
Does Kerry tell you to keep your eyes off of somebody like Cameron Martinez, who come in the summer, who's kind of like a Swiss Army knife on offense?
No, he's telling us to slow down, and he wants those short routes and all that and all that stuff. So, Coach Combs has a bunch of energy, and not much has changed in this world. Life's good. Great to have him back.
What's your early impressions of Cade since he made the switch to tight end?
You worry about, like all the guys, that the plays get in the way of the athletes you are. I think sometimes as we went through some stuff in winters, he looks sometimes to me, you could tell a quote fish out of water, like to see him be a little bit more smoother, fluid, but when you got out playing ball, you can tell he's a natural good football player, a good basketball player. Guy's played a lot of ball, with his family and his dad's background always, so when we get out running around, he naturally kind of finds the right place, and he might look a little out of control or out of whack, and he's kind of doing it on the run, but he's a good football player. I think it's going to be a good move for him and a good move for us. Got a lot of work to do, but he's going to be good.
Why'd you move him?
Excuse me?
Why did you guys move him?
Well, it started with Coach Johnson wanted come up to Hamilton at D-line. And so he thought he had a chance. He wanted that actually back during the season. And I kind of balked it because when Camarte got here, he had a hamstring injury that nagged, and I worried about him being from Memphis, long way from home, and wasn't playing, and I didn't want him to move and not feel wanted. And I kind of said, no, let's just keep him tight end. And when the season ended, as we went through recruiting, he said, hey, man, I really think, I said, let's talk to Camarte. And then we started talking, hey, it looks like Cade could be a tight end. So it was kind of a mutual kind of thing, like, hey, we thought it'd maybe be best for both kids. We'll see how it plays out. Short term looks good. But it kind of started with Coach Johnson's suggestion of maybe wanting to look at a tight end and wanting to balance our room out. And I was told when we recruited Cade, I was never allowed to go see him because the recruiters thought he could be a good tight end, and if I walked in the building, it would be a bad deal. So I was dying to watch him play high school basketball, and I was prohibited from doing so.
So it was a trade, basically. Straight up trade.
Whatever,
Hamilton for Stover.
But it really just started. Coach started with Coach Johnson. We thought Cade could, but Coach Johnson really thought, let's give Camarte a chance. And I thought Camarte was going to be a physical, good-looking, but Camarte was dieting, weighing 265, 268. He was kind of outgrowing the spot. And that being said, now Stove's weighing 253 the other day. He's getting big enough. I think he's going to be a good tight end for us. We'll see. Time will tell.
Kevin, those guys caught it seemed like a number of balls on Monday, and I know that we put too much stock in any open practice we see, but is this the year that those tight ends start getting more receptions and doing more than the blocking stuff? We know the impact they have.
It's still tough though, because there's a lot of those good guys outside, so it's just a progression.
Right.
And so I remember years ago, when we were young, I worked with Sean Payton. I worked together at Miami, and later he was at the Giants, and he said, when I run around and when this guy's number one and this guy's number two and this guy's number three in the progression, so it's kind of like those tight ends got to show Coach Day and ourselves and the quarterbacks they're deserving being number one, number two, because the more often you're higher in the progression, the way the call's made. Because we can get in a 2x2 set, and they can go from anywhere from being the first read to the last read just based on how we flip the formation, and they're almost interchangeable. And so, like, who do you want to touch the ball? But they're playing faster. That was our goal when I watched us play last year. I thought we played well, but I didn't think we played as fast as they are. And when we did a fair amount of study of a couple NFL teams, just watching some of their guys, and a couple guys I knew, like George Kittle, his dad he graduated with my daughter. So I saw that kid, saw him play high school ball. I know he's developed into a phenomenal player. I was watching, we were watching the Panthers, and the backup there, Ian Thomas, played at Indiana for me. And I'm watching these guys playing. I go, I know how fast they are. You're as fast or faster than them. I want to see this on tape more. So our goal this first 2 days of pads is we wanted to play faster and feel speed and feel size. It'll be interesting. If we get the ball, if we're as big as we are, if we start playing fast, I think you'll see the ball in our hands.
So
that's just a confidence, knowledge deal. And sometimes it's physical development, but sometimes it's just more knowledge and cutting it loose and rolling.
But if you looked at Monday or today, since we didn't see today, were they the third guy, or were there more times?
No, a little bit more. Yeah, okay. No doubt. And there's a fair amount. But I mean, shoot, last year, first game Ruck had 2 touchdowns, but he finished with 4. I mean, to say, I don't know. Those young receivers are awfully talented, going to be good players for us. So, we're forced to have good players, and they're really good players. But even, if let's say if Luke, Jake Hausman's doing the best he's done, but of those guys, if they call 5 balls a game. And this past year, that means they would have caught 70 balls. But now Luke had 460 some plays. So what's he doing the other 390 snaps? And the same thing, Rucker had 412 or 16 plays, I think. What's he doing those other plays? So They still got to be great players about the ball. If they're catching and they're running well, we'll see.
Coach Day said he's going to delegate some of the play calling responsibilities to you this year. How do you see that dynamic working out between you?
I don't know. We kind of do it collectively, as far as hey, what running leg, give me this, give me that. What are you thinking here or there? He's got final say. So even if there's hey, you're calling, he's always going to say, hey, give me this or don't do this or whatever. So I mean, I've done it a couple of years. So,
won't be your first rodeo.
I mean, my thing is as we came over here together and doing it, and then the second year, he technically was the play caller. We've done it together every year. And the thing is, I think is pretty good. And first of all, I think me being older, I'm a little bit more mature. I didn't take it selfishly, like it wasn't about me, it was about our group. I think some of the strengths and things that I see complement the things he sees. And I think collectively, not that neither one of us are perfect, I think collectively he'll see some things I don't see, I'll see some things he don't see. And I think I try to be a really good teammate. And I think we have a great working relationship that I think that goes in a strong way. It's a lot of fun.
So you don't see it being a big difference?
I don't. I mean, we're gonna. And more than anything, like I actually said a play in our last game that we played in the bowl game. I said the same thing he called. We called it simultaneously, and he goes, and he said after he said that was eerie. Because I was like, hey, because we got a list of like 130, 40, 50 things maybe, and it's the same. So I think we have similarities.
Was it a good play? Did it work?
Actually, it was. It was a very good play. But we actually, protection broke down. We didn't have a sound protection, but Justin made us look good. It made us look smarter than we are, and it ended up being a good call. So we got away with it.
The elevation of Corey Dennis to a full-time role. How's that transition been working out?
It's, to me, good because he knows. The guys know him. He knows us. He knows kind of what's expected. He knows how the room's been ran. I know Coach Day can always walk in there. I as well. I mean, so to me, it's been. It's same deal. I think even though, like me and Coach Day kind of calling plays how different it is. I mean, even though Coach Day's been here and Coach Schurzich was here, Corey's been a part of that. Hearing and seeing it. So, in some ways, maybe smoother than an outside guy because he kind of knew, quarterback play the way Coach Day wanted it. And I think short term, but again, as you go through the battles, really the thing is his ability to keep command presence, keep the command of the room, where the guys believe in what he's doing and keep moving forward. And I think with Coach Day, that'll happen.
You mentioned the young receivers. Specifically, how is G. Scott doing?
Really well. Really well. Strong, good hands, good route runner. Jackson's fluid, natural, going to be really good. Julian's unbelievable dynamic. Mookie's smooth in there. He's considered an athlete. They're all really good players. Really good players.
Still giving Garrett a look at the slot.
Yeah. And he's good enough to go outside, but right now it's kind of he and Jackson, Mookie inside. It's a little bit more speed. And really good receiver play. And you got Chris outside. Jalen Harris has had his best offseason. Really matured, been steady, worked hard, been the front line, been a leader of that group. Kind of nice to see him kick up. And there's some young guys behind him. And you got Elijah Gardner in there. It's a good group.
Two more questions. Has Jalen stepping up allowed Garrett to move inside?
Who's that?
Jalen stepping up, has that allowed Garrett to move inside Jalen Harris? At the X, they worked together last.
I think Coach Hart just felt some of those young guys with Chris and the guys we had, I just think he thought maybe Garrett could be a little bit more dynamic inside, and then you didn't know for sure until you get going, and we won't know until you get through spring and summer really what those freshman guys, do they hold up and are they consistent, but they flash early with high skill set. So Jackson can help in there, and Mookie, and still got Jalen Gill. There's a number of guys. You got, we're seeing if we can get maybe even a 6-year for C.J. Saunders. So it could be we're losing tremendous players with Paris and KJ Hill back to back, but he's got a chance to be in a dynamic position, it looks like.
How do you weigh Garrett
Last question.
inside versus outside? Because outside, he seemed like
Weighing
his
with
skill
scales,
set.
like Mickey weighs every day.
I mean, like his skill set seems really good for the outside acrobatic stuff. You mean on the sideline last year?
Yeah, but inside's the same deal. I mean, if you watch over time, like I just go back to, them inside guys get matched up, and those, are you strong enough to block a nickel linebacker safety guy? But then that's the guy that's got the matchup. And so I used to go to some of the kids like Ryan Broyles had 131 catches playing slot. I mean, and he was trying to score every time, and we were trying to throw it to him every time because it was like he could go, he could make you miss, and he was a matchup. Because now you don't want to put a corner in there. You make him go 3 corners. So sometimes that's, the best matchup sometimes who gets matched on the Mike backer because he's a bigger guy, or who gets matched up on safety. So even though Garrett can make all those acrobatic plays outside, a dynamic kid like Jackson looks dynamic. Those are neat matchups when you get on those nickels and the safeties that can do some really cool things in the pass game.
When you have some of the uncertainty you do at running back, does it help knowing the experience that you do have up front to block for those guys?
Yeah, but to be really good, you get a little bit more than you block. Now, Coach Walker back in there, that's his deal. Like, is he a ham and egg running back or is he a filet? And you need, no disrespect to ham and eggs, but you want a guy that can, he can cut through and he can make some yards. I mean, the really good ones, when you got a really good line, but they're always going to put more guys up there than you can block. And Justin's going to throw it well, and we got good receivers. They're going to put more guys in block. So you got to have backs that have the ability to make guys miss and take 3 and get 5. And so as we go through, Coach Alford do a phenomenal job. We're a little thin right now, but we'll be healthy. We'll be dynamic. We'll also have a chance to maybe to evolve and even be a little bit more, have a few more tools in the toolbox as we go through spring.